This time on War Junk, we investigate one of the most iconic battlefields in Canadian history, Juno Beach. We get a rare opportunity to search the beachhead using state-of-the-art technology.
It's very, very clear that there's something particular happening right here.
Will the team find an elusive buried German bunker that caused a horrific number of casualties on D-Day? What is the purpose of the mysterious shelters found hidden in a nearby woods?
It looks like a ledge. It looks like a place where you would hand out something.
And can we reunite a family with the artifact of their fallen ancestor? This is War Junk Juno Beach.
I'm Professor David O'Keefe.
And I'm history buff and filmmaker Wayne Abbott.
With our team, we travel the globe searching for war junk.
Remnants, artifacts, anything left over on the battlefield.
Some big, some small.
All with a story to tell.
And a mystery or two to solve along the way. It's amazing to think we're driving on one of the most storied battlefields in world history.
But it's so quaint and peaceful today.
But it was anything but on June 6, 1944. This was where the liberation of Western Europe began.
And one of the greatest invasions in history.
D-Day began on June 6, 1944, with the Allies attacking on 5 beachheads along the Normandy coast. The Americans at Omaha and Utah to the west, the British in command of Gold and Sword, and the Canadians at Juno Beach. All told, nearly 150,000 men stormed ashore that day. So what do you think?
I've always wondered what it would have been like to be a German soldier that morning on June 6, 1944, looking out and seeing the Allies approaching.
Yeah, the greatest invasion fleet in history, artillery screaming down, planes whipping by, explosions everywhere. It was hell on earth here.
This is the most well-trodden, investigated battlefield in the world. We're looking for artifacts and war junk to help tell the story. I mean, do you think we're going to find anything?
Well, D-Day was only the beginning of a 75-day campaign that pushed miles inland. I mean, this is a target-rich environment.
So where do we begin our search?
Well, I've already made arrangements to go to what I believe is the perfect place to start this journey.
There it is. Beautiful. Pretty dramatic building.
The Juno Beach Center sits at the heart of the Canadian Landing Zone. Built by Canadians in 2003 as a museum and memorial, it's also a research center and the perfect place to begin our search.
Oh, there she is.
We're meeting Marie-Eve Vaillancourt, its curator.
Oh,
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Dave
you, too.
O'Keefe, this is Wayne Abbott.
hello.
But of all the places along Juno Beach, why did they build the Juno Beach Center here?
This is where the Canadians took some of the highest casualties on D-Day.
This is where the Royal Winnipeg Rifles landed?
Yes, B Company specifically.
As a matter of fact, I think they ended up coming up against a couple of pillboxes.
Well, all you really need is 2 pillboxes that are set up with each other and interlock fire, and that can create a lot of casualties very quickly.
Yeah, and certainly for these guys 70 years ago, that was their D-Day experience. The 3rd Canadian Infantry Division was responsible for Juno Beach, a 10-kilometer stretch of shoreline. The Mike Red sector, where the center is now located, was only a small but vital portion of the Canadian landing zone. Well, you know, we like to go from battlefield to battlefield and tell the stories based on what's left, whether it be big remnants or small remnants. What do you have here that will take us right back to June 6, 1944?
A lot. The more time we spend here on site, the more things we discover. There's also things that are buried on the ground that we've gradually tried to recover and find out more about.
Our journey to find war junk started quicker than I would have imagined. Just about 100 feet from the front doors of the Juno Beach Center, she took us to a series of stairs that went underground.
So this is it?
Yes.
It's not often you get a chance to go under Juno Beach. Wow. So this is sizable. What exactly was it used for?
This was a command post
So this controlled all the German defenses in this particular sector of Juno Beach.
Yes, basically everything grew from here.
How long was this covered up?
A long time.
Was that something that was a natural occurrence, or
Yes,
was it
since
intentionally
there's
filled?
openings, it just filled with sand gradually. 70 years of sand
Shifting sands.
filling up this place, making it look like there's nothing here.
Packed in sand and buried for decades, it remained in pristine condition. But I couldn't believe that Mary Eve and her colleagues literally just dug this out within the last year or so.
We were crawling in there with flashlights trying to see where this led, where it stopped. We just dug and discovered as we dug. We took out 20 tons of sand by hand, and it took about a year with volunteers. We had no idea we would discover about 75 square meters of space.
Yeah, because this is about 10 feet deep.
That's when Dave and I had another idea. What if there was more structures like this buried under Juno Beach?
There are other structures. The problem is that only about a quarter of them are visible today. So finding the other structures, we're pretty much blind. I mean, you can't start digging everywhere.
But what if we could locate other structures without digging?
Have you ever heard of ground-penetrating radar?
No.
Well, this is a relatively new technology in the field of archaeology. And with radar waves, you can actually get a really good view of what's there. Do you have any other reference materials for us to work from?
There's a really popular photo, actually, that was taken about 4 or 5 years after the war. We use it a lot because it clearly shows how much the land has changed around here. This bunker, for instance, is dominating the entire photo, so it's a great reference.
But what was special about this photo is that the sand had receded so much that all the German fortifications in the photo are exposed. You can see where the observation post is. You can see the 2 Tobruks and another mysterious bunker just on the beach.
Yeah, the
That are on
Tobruk
here.
is really, really clear right here.
Well, you can see 2. That looks like another Tobruk down there, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, right? A Tobruk emplacement is a small concrete fortress that's buried in the ground. That's what the Germans were using to house their machine guns, and these were extremely deadly on D-Day. So, for a reference perspective, where is the Juno Beach Center on this now?
Right around here.
Where all these tents were?
Yeah, it was a campsite before.
Campsite?
Yeah, until we built it in 2003.
So you've got like 50 years, almost 60 years of a campsite on top of this.
Yeah.
That could be a challenge, because now not only do we have remnants and fortifications from World War II, but one would assume we have something from this campsite.
Hopefully, the GPR equipment will be able to tell the difference. After our discussion about the big artifacts, we move inside the museum to see if there are any small items with a story to tell about Juno Beach.
This is off of Juno Beach. There's a shell casing from Verrier Ridge.
Oh, Verrier.
A piece of P-51 Mustang aircraft from near Falaise, and then something we found when we actually dig for the building of the Juno Beach Center.
There's some amazing artifacts on display, but none of them had that certain special mystery attached to them.
What we're looking for is anything with a name, a number, any kind of marking that will help us research and find who that soldier is. And possibly the ultimate goal is to connect it with a living relative.
I have one in particular I can think of.
My. And where was this found?
In a field just south of Caen.
What do we have? We've got a name, H.I. Perry, and his serial number, K49513. This is amazing. This is not a dog tag. This is actually somebody's personal identification disc.
Yeah. And just flip it around.
Yeah.
That's what makes me want to find out more about it. Look at it.
From Mom and Dad, 14th of August, 1943. This was given to him, I guess, before he went off and fought. What happened to Mr. Perry?
We don't know.
Hugh Perry. He was 22 years old when he was killed on July 25th, 1944, and he was fighting with the North Nova Scotia Highlanders.
Well, the North Nova Scotian Highlanders, we know, landed on D-Day.
Yeah, they did.
This ID bracelet would be incredible if Perry landed in Juneau and made his way through the entire Normandy campaign.
July 25th was the date of a massive assault on Verrier Ridge, a stretch of high ground south of Caen. The North Nova Scotia Highlanders were tasked with taking a town called Tilly-la-Campagne. The entire operation resulted in 1,500 casualties, 500 fatal, including Hugh Perry.
Two of the most historic moments in Canadian military history. The landings at Juno and the disaster on Verrier Ridge.
We gotta get his service record.
Definitely.
With Perry's info dispatched to the research team, it's time to put our attention back to finding the buried bunkers at Juno Beach.
So you've been in touch with the GPR team, everything's set?
Yeah, they're using aerial photos that I provided them from World War II. They're using defense overprints. They're about as good to go as they could be. Now, which one's Blake, which one's John?
I'm Blake.
You're Blake, okay, hi.
Nice to meet you. John,
Hi,
nice to
John.
meet you.
Wow, this is an interesting toy.
This is our ground penetrating radar unit. This is what's going to show us what's under the ground out there on Juno Beach.
We have several documents to help us in our search, including an Allied intelligence map from 1944 and the 1947 photo.
This is going to be our reference point. This is the only thing that is still visible and prominent in this area.
So that's our North Star.
Yeah, you got it. Now, as you can see, at that time in 47, there were two bunkers that are somewhere just down here, but the dunes now have reclaimed everything. The first objective is going to be the pillboxes, the two what they call Tobruk bunkers. These are the ones that did the heavy fighting on D-Day. And then the other issue would be this legendary story of the tunnels, which we think are somewhere in this area here.
In the Canadian War Diaries, there's claims by Canadian soldiers that Germans were popping out of these tunnels on Juno Beach. Using the ground-penetrating radar, maybe we can solve this mystery of whether these tunnels exist or not.
The two Tobruk gun emplacements were located on either side of the observation post. They have been buried now for years.
We're going to pull it taut.
We first search for the westernmost Tobruk, but we know it isn't going to be easy. This is difficult terrain for the GPR, and because our reference photo was taken from an oblique angle, the position of the western Tobruk is hard to pinpoint. Fortunately, we also have Allied intelligence maps created before D-Day that show a target here that could be the Tobruk. Plus, we have this new technology that can see underground.
Tell me how this thing works.
It sends a radar wave out of the front, which is then picked up on the back part of the transmitter array, and then we're going to see the results right on the screen.
And it doesn't take long for the GPR to find something.
As soon as I hit the top of our target, things drop to about 3 meters in depth. And it continues on for about 8 meters to 14 meters on the survey, so that's about 4 meters wide, 3 meters deep. It could be the gun position that we've been looking for.
Looks like we found a pillbox at Juno Beach.
There are several more target areas for John and Blake to scan, including both sides of the underground command headquarters. We're not just looking for the Tobruks, but any other German fortification that could be buried. We leave them to it and head south.
We have a great opportunity today because we're meeting the man who actually found Hugh Perry's ID bracelet.
We're heading to a small church in the town of Cormel to meet Philippe Lafranc. Cormel is a small village on the southern edge of Caen, about 15 kilometers from the town of Tilly-la-Campagne, where Hugh was killed.
Bonjour. You must be Philippe. Oui. Oui. When we met Philippe, we were a little shocked because we thought we were going to head out to Tilly-la-Campagne, or at least the area around that. But he actually said that the area where he found the disc wasn't that far from the church.
So I just go right?
Oui.
Oui.
Voilà.
Continue tout droit, ici.
Continuez tout droit. Voilà, en fait, c'est pas dans le champ, c'est dans le chemin, en fait.
Oh, dans le chemin, he said.
Dans le chemin.
He said he didn't find it in the field. He actually found it in this little road. Oui, c'est juste par là. Est-ce que c'est dans la chambre ici ou?
Non, c'est juste sur le bord du chemin, en fait. Là, au pied de l'arbre.
Just at the foot of the tree.
My first thought was, how does this get here all these years later and 15 kilometers from where allegedly Perry died?
Je l'ai trouvé à peu près ici,
Oui.
pris dans les dents du râteau. Du coup, bah, je l'ai nettoyé. Et puis, j'ai vu une inscription dessus,
Wow.
avec le nom de la personne, le matricule, et derrière, avec le souvenir de ses parents.
Pour vous, le sentiment, c'est quoi?
J'aime bien, ça m'a fait plaisir de trouver ça, quoi. Parce que bon, il y avait
Pourquoi?
déjà... C'est inexpliqué, j'aime bien ça, en fait, l'histoire militaire, j'aime tout ça, quoi. Et quand j'ai trouvé ça, j'ai tout de suite su que ça appartenait à un soldat, quoi.
Even though I don't speak French, I could hear in Philippe's voice how moved he was by finding the bracelet, especially the inscription on the back.
Bah, très plaisir de le revoir, très content. Je n'avais pas à le garder parce que bon, pour moi voilà, ça appartient à l'histoire et si je peux le rendre, c'est une belle fin pour cette gourmette quoi.
The most crucial piece of information was that this bracelet was not found on Verrier Ridge, which really begs the question, where did Hugh Perry die? How did this bracelet get here? Why was it not picked up on the battlefield?
The first step, then, is to find out where the North Nova Scotia Highlanders were actually fighting at the end of July in 1944, and whether they actually came through Cormel. If that can be established, then that will shed a lot of light on this mystery.
And the last thing we want to do is find a family member of Hugh Perry, bring them to France, and reunite them with this ID bracelet that's been lost for 70 years.
Meanwhile, back at Juno Beach, Blake and John think they found the first Tobruk buried in the sand at the western end of Juno Memorial Park.
Now we're searching for the second one, the eastern Tobruk seen in the 1947 photo. And beside it, a mystery bunker about which we have no clue.
The Tobruk and this other building, they're a bit further north towards the sea, so they should be back into this wooded area.
So this is the kind of terrain that you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
So how are you going to attack it?
Well, I think I'm going to go get the magnetometer, strap it on. It's a lot more mobile than the GPR.
With GPR, you really need a flat, level area to push through.
This still isn't ideal conditions, but this is where we got to start looking.
The magnetometer is going to pick up any metal signals. So if there's reinforced concrete with rebar inside, he'll be able to figure that out. And there shouldn't be any other reason for a significant metallic structure to be buried under here. So if we get hits, we likely have our objectives. Any luck? Are you getting hits?
Oh, yeah.
John feels he has two significant hits in the dunes.
These two bunkers are actually key to understanding the experience of the Canadian soldiers landing right here on D-Day.
I got the second amount of strong readings right around here.
So that would be the long bunker, and this would be the Tobruk.
Yeah.
This is not good news. These dunes are protected, and we won't be allowed to dig. But then, a lucky break.
Just a few meters away, Blake set up another grid pattern.
We've hit a couple of really sharp targets. We want to get this whole area, and then we can provide you guys with a full picture of what's happening here.
It's exciting that we're getting closer to being able to excavate on Juno Beach. But first, Blake and John need time to process the GPR data. Meanwhile, the Juno Beach Center suggests we investigate a place called Tombette Woods.
Do you think there's anything to this new lead?
I've been looking on maps, planning documents, German documents. Nothing has shown up.
So all we know is that there's a little ravine in a small woods that might have German fortifications.
Not a lot to go on. This is it, right in here.
Wow.
This is a ravine?
It's a little woods, is it?
I thought it was gonna be bigger.
It was an area between two large fields that had a narrow strip of trees. Didn't think much of it until we walked in.
Now we know the Germans loved ravines. I mean, these were perfect places to camouflage any type of facility.
Don't see anything else, though.
Here we go, down here.
Oh.
The first structure we saw was a small, maybe 10 by 10 cement building. I wouldn't even call it a bunker.
It's pretty crudely put together. Maybe 15 meters from the first one, there was a second structure. But this time it was a bit different. It looked like a house. It had a door and it had a window. So this was some sort of personnel shelter as opposed to an ammunition storage area.
Here's another one. This is very different, though. Well, it goes this way.
I still had a question whether this was military or did some farmers put this stuff here to store their crops. Most of the structures looked the same until we came across one particular one.
Holy, look at this.
This one looked like a mini bunker.
It looks like it's collapsed over here. I think we might actually have like a improvised German pillbox. It's a personnel shelter.
This thing is intact, exactly the way it would have been, say, in World War II. It looks like a ledge. It looks like a place where you would hand out something.
You can tell when you get inside, you can actually take a look and you'll see the area where they had the stove going through, the stove
Really?
pipe.
Wow. As we walked further along the ravine, there was another structure that caught my eye. No, that's probably not safe to go in this one.
No, this one's gonna come down very soon.
All the other places that we had seen were basically intact. This one was hanging on by a thread. If this was indeed a German fortification, maybe this was hit on D-Day.
But without any evidence of fighting bunkers, we still weren't convinced that we hit a military installation until we exited the wood at the other end. Oh, wow. Well, now I know why they situated this place here. It's kind of like real estate. It's all about location, location, location. And this particular spot was perfect for viewing Juno Beach. I'm not really sure whether there was any fighting that was done here, but it's the terrain. It's the terrain that gives this away. This is just too good of a killing zone not to be fortified in some way.
What we're looking for now is either something in the files or maybe someone nearby to truly tell us the story behind Tombette Woods.
After 2 days of collecting archaeological data on Juno Beach, it's time for John and Blake to reveal their findings.
We believe that this rectangular feature is the Tobruk. And the good news about that is we can tell exactly where those corners are.
This is a scan facing east off of the command post. What we've got is a very strong signature, and it's very linear.
Now we have a number of good targets to excavate on Juno Beach.
So the next thing is to make sure we get the appropriate permission, bring in the backhoes, and then we're gonna dig this thing out.
This is a momentous day. We've brought in teammate Craig Mitchell to help us dig on Juno Beach and unearth remnants of the German defenses faced by Canadian troops landing here on D-Day. The data shows us that we have about 3 or 4 potential dig sites.
One target is the area close to the sand dunes where we believe the eastern Tobruk is buried. Another target is an unknown hit the GPR team got near the underground German headquarters. But the big dig here is the Tobruk, located on the westernmost end of Juno Beach Park.
You know, there is a storm coming in, so we may want to change our plans. We were going to start on the smaller pieces and then build up to the Tobruk, but, you know, if this rain hits, we may want to start on that target first.
Let's hit the big targets and see where we go.
So we decide we're going to start on the west side.
Excited, Dave? It's starting now to dawn on me that we're actually gonna do this. I mean, it's one thing to run around with a GPR and plan and talk, but now the time is here. We're about to break ground on Juno Beach.
Come on, CC. What he's doing right now is just scraping all the vegetation off the surface so we can get down into the sand.
Looking for the edge here. Just seeing if we hit anything solid.
I'm excited, I'm nervous. I don't know what shape the Tobruk will be in, but whatever it is, this was here, D-Day, June 6, 1944.
You know what? I think this is the original Pebble Beach.
Sorry.
We're gonna move over and we're gonna start a different lane for excavation because right now we've gone down about 2 feet and we haven't been able to find anything solid.
Frustration is setting in early. We've dug 2 trenches, but so far, no sign of the Tobruk.
That looks like possibly decomposing concrete. I mean, that is a huge soil change. We got bits of charcoal here.
Is there anything to indicate that we've hit Tobruk as opposed to?
No, there's not. No.
Not ready to admit defeat, we dig a 3rd trench, but come up empty. We have no idea what the GPR picked up in this area, but it's definitely not a Tobruk.
Luckily, there's another target to dig. We know it's not the Tobruk, but we're hoping for a German bunker or a tunnel running off the underground headquarters.
Plenty of stories from Canadian sources about the Germans popping up behind them as they advanced across the beach. And they suspected that the whole area was honeycombed with tunnels. And this is the only hit that we've had so far that would indicate that maybe there is some weight to that story. Whoa, hello.
Yep. There we go.
You got some what?
Yep, that's concrete.
Now this looks promising.
Craig's found the edge.
Well, it's certainly man-made, there's no doubt about that. It's a bigger square than we've ever seen.
We really want to believe we found something from World War II. But unfortunately, no such luck. We uncover what appears to be a patio from the campgrounds.
And the rain.
After a disappointing day at the beach, even the weather seems to be telling us to quit.
Our first day digging on Juno Beach was not very successful. We didn't find the Tobruk we were after, and we were very deflated once we uncovered a 1970s patio that probably was there for a tent trailer. Going into day 2, it was just Dave and Craig and I, but we still had a couple of GPR hits that we wanted to uncover.
All right, this is what we're looking for right here. This is an ammunition bunker, and we suspect that there might be another one just behind us.
The last target identified by the GPR is just steps away. And the square pattern of the scanner image seems to support the presence of another ammunition bunker.
If there's any sort of steel reinforcements in there, it should light this up pretty big.
When we lined up the digger, it didn't take long before we hit concrete.
Whoa.
Well, this is a big slab, isn't it?
Part of me was skeptical, thinking, did we get another patio?
You know what? That's actually seeming to go back a little farther than we thought. It also looks like it's slanted, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If this gets any bigger, I'm starting to think that we may have found that particular shelter.
That particular shelter is the mystery bunker in the 1947 photo that we thought was buried in the protected dunes where we couldn't dig.
Oh, here we go. Look, there's the edge. There's the edge right there.
Boys, we have found the mystery bunker on Juno Beach. Look at it. The reference point, our northern star, right there is the observation post.
Yep.
In a direct line. We've got it.
This is bigger than an ammo
This
dump.
is one of the ones we were expecting to find on the beach, but the beach is now advanced. This is completely different. This is not an ammunition bunker.
It's a huge remnant. We really don't know the purpose behind it, but likely it was used as a personnel shelter.
Once we uncovered a bit more of this mystery bunker, we realized it would be impossible for our small team to take all the sand away to reveal it. Then Dave had an idea. Using the 1947 photo, he realized that the position of this bunker was just beside the other Tobruk that we were trying to find.
Craig, did you get your metal detector?
Sure.
Should give a big hit, right?
Iron.
It seemed like we had a good target, and it really did form the shape of what we believed is a Tobruk.
The Tobruk has been our ultimate target to find. And if we could literally place these two together, that would be war junk gold.
Yeah. How far down?
It should be the next scoop.
This could be one of the biggest scoops in history.
We heard the metal clunk against the cement.
Look at this. Here we go.
We hit pay dirt, boys!
It's just an absolute perfect condition.
Wow, we nailed it right in the middle.
Once we cleaned out the ring, the next objective was to move behind and see if we could find the door.
This is it.
That's the door?
There's the entrance right there.
As the shape of this machine gun position emerges from the sand, it's an awe-inspiring sight.
It's been filled in a lot. There's only about the top inch that isn't filled with sand.
These are the first images from inside this bunker in years. We have a lot more digging. I cannot believe how much we've exposed already, and just as only a few hours ago when we discovered it.
The significance of this find cannot be overstated. This was one of the Tobruks that caused the heavy casualties suffered by the Royal Winnipeg Rifles in those first few moments on D-Day. And without their determination and sacrifice in eliminating this position, the story here could have been vastly different.
What a day.
You believe this?
We've just dug out a Tobruk. Everyone knew that this Tobruk was buried somewhere along this sand dune. There she is. But to be able to show Mary-Eve, to be able to take somebody from the Juno Beach Center who's been here for years and show them the new discovery, it was really quite an overwhelming moment.
This is awesome. This is perfect.
With your observation post, your command post,
Yeah.
and now a fighting bunker, you got all the pieces.
We knew it was here, but knowing it on paper and being in it, it's different. Speaks volume, you know?
We'd like to revel in the success of our Tobruk discovery, but we have some loose ends to tie up on some of our other artifact stories.
In order to solve the mystery of Tombette Woods, the Juno Beach Center really came to bat. There is a gentleman who lives in this area who 70 years ago had a personal involvement with Tombette Woods.
A young Georges Regnault was part of the German forced labor program. He was responsible for bringing water on a daily basis to the soldiers stationed here.
That he remembers.
Qu'est-ce que c'était le rôle des bunkers ici?
C'était tous les canonniers, tout ça, parce que c'était toujours habité, les canons, vous savez, jour et nuit, hein, parce qu'ils faisaient tir DCA et tir en longueur. Ah oui, c'était des 88 qu'il y avait là.
88.
Ah oui, terrible, le 88.
These were probably the most legendary of all weapons of the Second World War for the Germans.
Alors voyez-vous, ici, c'était tous les gars qui étaient là sur des lits superposés.
Combien d'Allemands ici, dans ce bois?
Je sais pas, moi, en tout, il devait y avoir 160 Allemands ici, en tout.
When he told us that over 160 men were housed or lived here, I could just imagine the bustling of activity here prior to D-Day.
Là, on va arriver au capitaine.
On va arriver au bunker du capitaine.
Aye.
He told us that this was actually the personnel area, with the guns being farther behind. But to protect this place from airborne attack and paratroopers, they had machine gun positions just behind the captain's bunker. And then suddenly the conversation took a completely different turn.
Je vais vous montrer même où il y avait le coiffeur.
The barber.
The barber.
As much as we've been talking about the military history that was going on here, when he started talking about the acquaintance and maybe even the friendship, if you will, that he made with the barber here, it was really remarkable.
Il était jeune. Il avait à peu près mon âge et tout.
This young German kid who was stationed here for quite a while, so George was able to somehow befriend him.
Il me dit, mes 4 frères sont morts en Russie. Hein, les 4 brothers. Mon père, ma mère et ma sœur tués dans un bombardement de Cologne. Il n'avait plus personne. Il n'avait plus personne. Ah oui.
After this wood was taken late on D-Day by the Chaudière Regiment of Quebec, his friend was taken prisoner.
Il était avec les mains sur la tête comme ça. Et puis alors, oh, il m'a aperçu. Il m'a fait comme ça. Ah, l'anglais, il est gardé. Hop, il est arrivé, puis il l'a bousculé un peu. Je lui ai dit non, pas celui-là. Pas celui-là.
This is quite the view.
Tombette Woods has to be one of my favorite stories that we've told. This little wooded ravine that many people, even locals, don't even know about. And through George, he was able to bring this area to life for us and really tell the human side of war. After the success of finding the second Tobruk, we started thinking, how did we miss the first one?
Using the oblique photo and the military intelligence map, it was hard to factor in just how much the shoreline had changed over the years.
When we started digging down there, we were only 40 meters away from this.
The second Tobruk.
The first thing we could see was a partial uncovering of the ring.
Oh, look!
Look at that.
That looks like an armor-piercing round to
It's
me.
right in here. It's a 7.92. That's exactly what the Germans used for the machine guns and the rifles.
The bullet had to have been fired on D-Day from this Tobruk. And while looking at the photo, Dave has an idea.
If it is tilted a little bit, we might have relatively easy access to the door down there.
Oh.
Because it's closer to the surface, isn't it?
The excavator starts digging on the back end of the Tobruk. And it's not long before Craig springs into action.
Now, do you see any artifacts, anything?
It's in pretty remarkable condition.
When he found that doorway, there was nothing stopping Craig from getting inside.
There was only about a 12 to 18-inch space to crawl into. And of course, there was no way I was getting in.
It's in absolutely amazing condition. No kind of cracking, no kind of erosion on the inside here at all.
The fact that it was still in relatively pristine condition with little or no graffiti suggests that this was buried very quickly after the battle.
Just go into where the parapet is, the main area. What I can see, what looks to be a very clear bullet hole in the side.
Really?
This is one of the best examples of a war remnant taking us back to June 6, 1944. This bullet hole gives Craig a very clear picture of what happened on that historic day.
The person that shot it must have been almost in this position here. Any further back and you could not have got that right angle. So he was coming in and they were just firing at anything that was in this area.
Has to be a Royal Winnipeg rifle.
It's been a huge success finding artifacts that graphically illustrate the story of the Canadian troops that landed here on Juno Beach, knowing that they'll be able to tell this story to visitors for years to come. We have one more mystery to solve, the ID bracelet of Hugh Perry. We are awaiting 2 family members who are coming over from Canada, but we also just received Perry's service record.
His service record's incredibly detailed. Was there any information on his movement?
We know Perry was killed south of Caen on July 25, 1944, but we are hoping to connect his story to Juno Beach. We're searching for evidence in his service record to see if he landed here with the North Nova Scotia Highlanders on D-Day.
Ticket on strings to North Nova Scotia's July 9th, 44.
July 9th.
Yeah, and before that, he was with the Calgary Highlanders.
So he's a reinforcement. He didn't land on D-Day.
Apparently not. Well, Calgary Highlanders were with the 2nd Division. They didn't arrive until a month after. Hang on. I just noticed something here.
What's that?
Okay, this is a little strange. It looks like he bounced around a little bit before he joined the North Novas. He remained with the Calgary Highlanders officially, but he was lent to another unit, the Canadian Scottish.
Well, the Canadian Scots landed here.
Guess when he was transferred? A week before D-Day. He landed with them here.
That's unbelievable.
Welcome to Juno Beach.
Hi there.
Armed with this new information, we're now meeting 2 of Hugh Perry's relatives, nieces Linda Roberts and Donna Bolton. They have no idea that we found their uncle's ID bracelet.
We are first taking them to the fields around Tilly-la-Campagne, 30 kilometers south of Juno Beach.
So your uncle, when he was making his approach, would have come down through these fields ahead of us and right across.
And it is here where their Uncle Hugh was killed.
We're interested to know how much you know about his wartime experience.
He was determined to go in the war when he was young, and his mom actually pulled him out of the war because she had lost a son earlier. She did not wish to lose another one to this. He was just determined to go in. So he started off in the Calgary Highlanders, and we're not really aware how he ended up being in the Nova Scotia Highlanders.
As we mentioned on the way down here, the attack came in at night. So as your uncle and the men from the North Nova Scotias started to come through these fields, the Germans let loose with their machine guns, their mortars. All we know from there is that his company, which was trying to outflank Tilly, took heavy casualties, and he was lost. You're getting emotional.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I was trying to think what it was like so many years ago, that young men so scared and everything. I just
can't imagine either.
Linda and Donna have no idea where we're taking them next. but it's time to show them why we've brought them to France. Something was found right here. I just want to give it to you to take a look at right now. Here's your uncle's ID bracelet.
Right there, so they would have just come across it because it's been buried. That's amazing. So it must have been torn off or whatever.
We do have an idea how it would have gotten here.
Oh.
It was really perplexing at first because we're about 15 kilometers from where he was killed. In the files, there was no record of the North Nova Scotia Highlanders coming through here before battle, but there is of them coming here the night after. And so at that particular time, his kit would have been with the rear area. And what seems most likely is that that remained behind in his kit when he went up to battle. And I guess during this particular time, it was lost here.
It was lost, yeah.
The lost ID bracelet is just one of the mysteries surrounding Hugh Perry. We take Donna and Linda back to Juno Beach to reveal the rest of their uncle's story.
This is a very special part of Juno Beach. I know you had questions about your uncle being in the North Novas and how he got to the North Novas and the Calgary Highlanders. Well, we have a service record with us.
You were absolutely right. He started with the Calgary Highlanders.
And at first we were confused because it said that he was with the North Nova Scotias as of July 9th, and we thought he was a reinforcement.
Because he was a signaler, a radio man, that was one of the reasons why he was in such high demand. So he was transferred from the Calgary Highlanders to the Canadian Scottish just before D-Day. And they landed right where we're standing.
Wow. That answers a question because we've been wondering.
Landed here on D-Day, fought with the Canadian Scottish through the villages that we just came from, and then got transferred to the North Novas only on July 9th.
Wow.
And that is so amazing that that bracelet landed here on Juno Beach.
It just opens a whole new world because you learn about a person that you knew existed but you didn't know much about. No.
There is one final piece to the story of Hugh Perry's bracelet. And it's inside the Juno Beach Center, where Mary-Eve is thrilled to introduce Linda and Donna to the collection.
One of the things that we try to do is present personal stories. That's what people love the most and can relate to.
When we reach the special gallery that displays artifacts found on the battlefield, Mary-Eve plans the perfect ending to the Hugh Perry story. The ID bracelet will now be on permanent display at the Juno Beach Center.
This is perfect because otherwise it would be in a drawer. Also, it makes it so his life wasn't lost in vain. It can actually provide knowledge for other people too.
Yeah.
Future generations now can continue to see the legacy and understand the story of this one particular Canadian soldier, which in many ways was representative of all.